Peace, this is Doug, and this is another step-by-step beat making video. This time around I've got my Digitakt again, but I've also got my Zoom Sampletrak. The Sampletrak is a very cool old sampler that I'm going to be talking a lot more about in the near future. It has its own sound, it's easy to use, and especially for a 23-year-old sampler, it's pretty fast. What I'm going to do today is just use the Digitakt as a sequencer and later as an effects processor. All the samples are going to be on the Sampletrak. So let's start there. Our main sample comes from Gwen Guthrie. It's called You're the One. I got it from the Dollar Bin, so I'm pretty happy about that. And it's just this big old chunk right here.
You are the one. You, the one I love.
I've also got some drums from the Silver Connection. This track is You Turn Me On. Finally, I've got some shakers. I'm like 80% sure they're from a Stanley Turrentine record, but I don't know. Anyway, one thing I like about the Sampletrak is the way that the pads work. You don't sample to the pads directly the way that you would on the old Boss samplers or Yamaha samplers that were out in the late 90s, early 2000s. You've just got this bank over here. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this first sample and assign it to pad 1. And now, if you'll notice, I sped all these samples up. They were recorded on 45. So what I'm going to do now is pitch this down. And to get this back down to normal speed, then I need to take it to negative 5.19 semitones. But I'm going to go one lower, so it'll be negative 6.19. All the one. You are the one. Next thing I want to do is set my start point. And I'm going to copy this over here. And this is what I really like about this. The pads are just a set of parameters, so it takes no time to copy them since I'm not copying a whole sample. And I'm going to adjust the start point for this one as well. And now I'm going to copy this 3 times. And I'm going to get the whole rest of this bar. I'm going to tighten this up a little bit. So now I'm going to go through and get the next part, and it's basically the exact same phrase. So I'm going to copy this over. Now I'm going to get the start point. Tighten this up right now. Okay, I'm going to copy this one. And I'm going to get this next part here. The one I love. And I really just want these first 2 parts. Let's tighten that up. Okay, and then I'm going to get this one last little stray part in the next section. Just this right here. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this guy here. I'm also going to copy this one here. And I'm going to copy this one. And what I'm going to do with these 3 is pitch them 5 semitones down. Okay, so let's head over to the MIDI track on the Digitakt, and I've already got this set up. so that we're going from C3, because that's where the pads start on the sample track. They start a little low. So here are the chops now. And it's all going to fit together like this. Okay, so let's get this in the Digitakt. For this first one, I actually want the one that happens on F. And then we're just going to use, this one's just the first chop. I think the lower pitch ones are all the way up on A sharp. Yeah. Then this one is just B. And let's see. I want this to be independent tracks, and I want 64 steps total. And for the length of this track, right now I just want it to be 32 steps. And for these ones, I want that part where it's just like a whole bar going through. And that just starts at C sharp. And then I want this tempo like way down at maybe 90. All right, so let's hear that all together. Cool. All right, so let's extend this to 4 bars. And I just want to change this one here to be that little extra one, which was right there. And then these two, I'm going to change to that little alternate section. So that would be this one and this one. So now all together it's like this. Cool. All right, so now we're ready for some drums. So I'm going to assign them. First thing I want to do is lower the pitch down to negative 5.19 semitones. That's going to bring us back down to normal speed. Now I'm ready to start editing some start points. And here I should say that one of the little quirks of the sample track is that you can only play samples as gated when you're playing the pads over MIDI. On the machine itself, you can change the trigger mode, but it's just gated when you're playing from a MIDI controller. And that's why I don't bother with setting the endpoints for anything. I just need to worry about note length. Okay, I've already got my MIDI track set up for my drums. So I've got kick, snare, and hi-hat. We're going to start with the kick, and I just want kicks here and here. I'm going to make this 32 steps. I want another one here. Let's hear how that sounds. Okay, I think I also want kicks here, and I'm going to push these all the way out to 1/48. I'm going to copy them, put them here as well. Okay, and I also want one over here. Okay, so one of the kind of annoying things about the sample track is that there's no velocity. So there's no velocity on the machine, and there's no velocity when you're controlling it over MIDI. So the way that you actually accomplish that is by using two pads with different levels. So I've already got two pads with different kick drums on them. I've got this one and I've got this one. And so what I'm going to do is change the level of this one from 50 to 30. And then I can go over and change this pad over here to this one. And then just copy that. So let's hear how that sounds now. Cool. Okay, so now let's do the snare. And for this, I've got basically 3 snares. So I'm going to make this 64 steps. The first snare is just this one here. And that's going to be for most of these. And then the last one, I'm going to switch to one with the tambourine. And then I'll switch to this other one with the tambourine for the last snare. So let's hear that now. Okay, so let's move on to the hi-hat track. We're not going to do anything fancy here, just quarter notes. But let's make this 64 steps in case we do want to do something fancy down the line. All right, last thing here are the shakers. So I'm going to pitch them down first. Do the start point. All right, now let's actually first I want to adjust the level. I already know this is going to be too loud. I'm going to take it down to 16 because I want it to be kind of subtle. And now let's just copy this 3 times. All right, let's put the shakers into the sequencer here. Now, one of the cool things that I can do with this combination is I can control the Sampletrack's effects from the Digitakt's MIDI tracks. So I'm going to set that up on the sample track first. I'm going to turn on the effects and I'm going to pad enable all of these pads here. These are the pads for the main sample. I'm also going to control that from track 1, which is the main sample track on the Digitakt. So if I go to values here, now I've got control over the filter. All right, so the sample track doesn't have multiple outputs. The Digitakt doesn't have multiple inputs. So the best I can do is just use the left and right channels. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pan the main sample to the left, and I'm going to pan everything else all the way to the right. And now I can go over to my mixer page and I can get dual mono. So now I can apply effects to my drums and my sample individually. I also have level control now. Let's see here. I think I need to actually hit something from the internal tracks to get the effects going. So let's hear that now. So what I'm going to do now is just write a little bit of automation into this. So what I want is for the filter to be open the first time the pattern plays and then close the second 2 times around. So first thing that I'm going to do is figure out how I want the filter to sound when it's open. I think there is fine. What I'm going to do now with this is set down a yellow trig, and I'm going to parameter lock the values that I just set. What the yellow trig does is let you just send parameter values without sending notes like the red trigs do. But what I'm going to do now is just copy this, and I'm going to get rid of it while I figure out how I want things to sound when the filter is closed up. Alright, so let's bring this together. I'm going to paste my yellow trig. I'm also going to set the destination to none because I don't want the LFO to be going while the filter's open. I'm nudging it all the way back, and I'm going to change the condition to 1-3. And now I can paste these all around. So now the filter is going to close up after the whole thing goes through one time. Actually, what I want to do is change some things around. I want the filter to close up after this first step the second time around, and on these last 2 steps I want the filter to open back up going into it. And I can do that just by setting down another yellow trig here that does nothing except have a condition of 2-3, and then I can set these to not previous and this one as well. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing over with my hi-hat track. So I'm just copying this step, and I'm gonna go over to my hi-hat track, and right here I'm going to set this one to not previous, and then this one I'm going to set to previous. This is actually a bit further than I would usually take a beat with this setup. For me, the sample track, especially paired with an external sequencer like the Digitakt or the Digatone, is a great sketch pad, but I prefer to actually get into the nitty-gritty of a sample with a more capable sequencer like the Digitakt or the Circuit Rhythm. And I think that's what I'm going to wind up doing with this. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of it. If you want to support what I do, then please like and subscribe. I've also got music on Bandcamp that you can buy if you want to throw a few euros my way. In any case, thanks for watching. Hit me up in the comments. Peace and love.